She wasn't supposed to be in there, but everything I thought I knew was a lie. She had been frozen inside for 14 months.
Commander Darian Holt had been stationed on this forgotten orbital outpost for 3 years. 3 years of silence, recycled air, and dim blue corridors that hummed like a dying heartbeat. He had made peace with the loneliness until the night the cryo deck awakened on its own. The alarm was soft. Not the piercing red of battle, just a pale amber blink in his quarters, the kind that said, something changed. Darian sat up from his cot, already reaching for his sidearm. He was always reaching for something. That was what war did to a man. He moved through the lower decks alone. The rest of Starhold Vega's skeleton crew was asleep. 12 soldiers responsible for maintaining a station that once housed 500. Most of those 500 had died at the Battle of Hevron Rift. Darian had survived because he had been ordered to retreat. He still hadn't forgiven himself for following orders. The cryo chamber bay was at the bottom of the station, where the temperature dropped 3 degrees lower than anywhere else. 12 sealed pods lined the walls, coated in frost, unassigned. They had been empty since Darian arrived, or so the manifest said. But one pod was glowing. Chamber 7. Its status panel shifted from deep black to pale green. Vitals. Active vitals. Darian raised his weapon and approached slowly. His breath misted in the freezing air. His boots clicked softly on the metal floor. He pressed his palm to the scanner, and the frost-sealed door hissed open, expelling a curl of white vapor that vanished into the dark above him. She was inside. She looked like something between a warrior and a ghost. Her skin was deep cobalt blue, smooth as carved stone, faintly luminescent beneath the cryofrost. Her hair fell in long silver-white braids, thick and coiled, draped over her armored shoulders like chains made of moonlight. Her armor was black and ornate, segmented plates engraved with symbols Darian had never seen in any military database. A small golden crown-like ornament rested on her brow, half hidden beneath her braids. She was alive. And she was Velhari. The Velhari were the enemy. They had been the enemy for 11 years. They had destroyed Hevron Rift. They had burned colonies. They were not human, and humanity had decided that meant they were not worth understanding. Darian's finger hovered over the trigger. Her eyes opened. They were pale, almost colorless, like ice over deep water. They found him immediately, and she did not flinch. She looked at him the way people look at something they expected, as if she had known he would be the one to open the pod. "Commander Holt," she said, her voice low and unhurried. She knew his name. "Do not shoot me. I am not your enemy tonight." "You are always my enemy," he said. But he did not fire. She sat up slowly, ice falling from her arms in small cascades. She showed him her hands, no weapon, no threat. Up close, the engravings on her armor were not military insignia. They were something older, something ceremonial. "My name is Zariel Voss," she said, "commander of the Velhari Third Reach. I have been in that pod for 14 months. She paused. "I put myself there." Darian stared at her. "Why?" Zariel looked down for a moment, the first crack in her composure. When she looked back at him, something in her expression had shifted. Not weakness. Something more dangerous than weakness. "Grief. Because I uncovered the truth about the Battle of Hevron Rift," she said quietly. "And the truth came from my own people." The silence between them was heavier than the cold. She told him everything. It took 40 minutes. By the end of it, Darian had lowered his weapon and sat down on a crate with his head in his hands. Hevron Rift had not been a Velhari attack. It had been staged, orchestrated by a faction within both species' high commands, humans and Velhari alike, a coalition of war profiteers who needed the conflict to continue, who needed the fear to last. 500 soldiers had died at Hebron Rift because someone had decided peace was too expensive. Zariel had found the evidence buried in encrypted Velhari command files. She had tried to bring it forward. They had tried to kill her. Hiding in Cryo had been her only option. She had hidden here, deep in human-controlled space, because it was the last place her own people would search. Darian stood up. His hands were trembling, but not from cold. He thought of the soldiers he had retreated from, the faces he still saw when he closed his eyes. He thought of 11 years of war, of children growing up on colony ships afraid to look at the stars. "Why me?" he asked. "Why wake when I came down here?" Zariel looked at him, without hesitation. "Because I accessed your file before I went under. You disobeyed 3 direct orders to continue retreating at Hebron. You kept going back for survivors." She paused. "And you were punished for it. That told me what I needed to know about your character." He held her gaze for a long time. "The evidence," he said finally. "Do you still have it?" She reached beneath her armored chest plate and removed a small crystalline data core, black with faint interior light, and held it out to him. He took it. "If we transmit this," he said, "both our governments will try to destroy us." "Yes," she said simply. "Then we need to transmit it everywhere. All channels. Simultaneously. So, it can't be buried." For the first time, something moved across Zariel's face that was almost a smile. Small, exhausted, and real. "I was hoping you would say that," she said. Darian looked at the data core in his palm, then back at the woman who had hidden in ice for 14 months waiting for someone worth trusting. "Then let's end an 11-year lie," he said. He extended his hand to her. She took it, and the war began to die.